Welcome to Live at the Blue Box extended edition. We're going a little bit early tonight. We are starting off with Cuckoo for Who, and Cuckoo for Who was started and thought of by Molly, and it's Molly Southgate. We'll introduce each other in a little bit. So, you know what? Why don't we start with this? Why don't we introduce each other? Why don't we start at the end? Go ahead.
Introduce myself?
Yes, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Nathan Chesterfield. I'm an extreme Whovian. It's not evidenced by the Matt Smith garb and the fez. You know, fezzes are cool. So, hi. Yeah, I work here at the Blue Box Cafe. I've been a fan of Doctor Who for pretty much my entire life, and yeah, that's about it.
Sounds good. Okay.
I'm Molly Southgate. I'm on a lot of podcasts, and I'm the host of Cuckoo for Who.
Thanks. Woo. Yep. Yeah, Molly is. She's on a ton of the podcasts here for Southgate Media Group, and she is the creator and, as far as we know, the youngest host of a podcast on iTunes, which is really, really cool. So she's awesome.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's really impressive. And my name is Chris Mao. I am a co-owner here of Blue Box Cafe. I'm on a bunch of podcasts. I guest on Cuckoo for Who. I'm co-host of This Week in Geek. A lot of the Live at the Blue Box stuff. I also did Deutschland, the Deutschland 83 podcast called In Hoff We Trust. So it's really cool. So we're going to kick off, go get right into Cuckoo for Who. Thank you guys for coming on out. We're going to do a little abbreviated show. Usually our shows are about 40 minutes. We're going to do about 25 to 30 minutes today. And we are going to talk about the upcoming Season 9 that is starting next week. So
who's excited?
You guys all excited?
Yeah. Woo! I'm really excited. Doctor Who has been out of my life for too long, and I need to know everything that happens.
We do need to know everything that happens. So I know, Molly, you did not see it. So did you guys see the prologue that came out a couple of days ago? Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. So
it's interesting.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to have Nathan kind of explain what happened because he's very, very good at it. And then we're going to talk about some stuff. So
okay, so for those of you who haven't seen it, it references something called the Night of the Doctor. So who's seen that? Who remembers the Night of the Doctor? Awesome. We've got a couple people. So the Night of the Doctor was the prelude to the 50th anniversary where Paul McGann's Doctor goes to Karn. It's a world where they elevate Time Lord science and they allows him to choose his regeneration. So he can regenerate into whatever he wants with this special serum they have. And in this new prologue, the 12th Doctor goes back to Karn to meet with the woman who gave him that serum. And he talks to her about how things are probably going to come to an end and he's worried and he can't trust anyone. And then at the end of the conversation, she asks if he can trust her, and he hands her what you might have seen in the trailer as the last will and testament of the Doctor. It's a confession dial. So that's going to play a big part in the season opener, and he gives that to her, and he tells her to look after the universe for him because he's put a lot of work into it. And then it ends there rather mysteriously.
And what I thought was cool about it, he said to her, you know who to give this to, so I don't know who that's going to be, although there's speculation.
I think it's Missy because she's the one who shows it to Clara in the trailer.
Right.
So I think that's who it is, but I'm not sure because there's definitely a lot of talk about the Master in the prologue and how you can't escape an old enemy because they're just like an old friend.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ties to the Master being a very important character or Missy being a very important character.
So well, and what I infer from that, either it's going to be the Master is supposed to get it or Clara is supposed to get it because I think a companion. So
yeah.
All right. So you know what we'll talk about the prologue more. So Molly, what are you looking forward to most for this season?
I just want to see what Claire and the Doctor do. I just want to. I'm just really looking forward to the season. Just
cool
because it's Doctor Who.
Yeah, well, it's because it's Doctor Who. And you know what? Clara is one of your favorite, right? She's one of your favorite companions.
Yes.
She's my favorite as well, just for the record.
She is not my favorite, but I really like her. And and just for the record, if you guys have not met her, she's really, really, really short. There's a picture over there. She's tiny. She was maybe 5'2" in heels, in really big heels,
man.
Which is cool. And she was very, very nice. And I know Molly met her because we got a signature for her birthday, and she was really excited about that. So in this season coming up, one of the interesting things and one of the things that I really like is Moffat's going back to a lot of two-part episodes, which I think is good because it can kind of, we're not going to have, and I call these throwaway episodes where they kind of do a bunch in the story and then they have one that doesn't really make any sense. It's kind of fun, which I think is going to be good that they're not going to get away from that because, what is there, 12 episodes?
There's 12 episodes, and I'm pretty sure only 2 of them are just single-run episodes.
Right.
I think the rest of the season is almost entirely two-parters.
Which will be good, and which will tie them all together.
So lots of cliffhangers, unfortunately.
So, okay, Molly, what do you think about Peter Capaldi?
He's one of my favorites. he's not my favorite, but
I know who your
he's
favorite
one
is.
of
Who's
my
your favorite?
You know it.
Who?
Matt Smith.
Matt Smith.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you're not fangirling over Nathan over there. So
Hi. I wish
good.
I was Matt Smith. That'd be a lot cooler.
Would be a lot cooler. But do you like the way he's kind of been, the way they portrayed him or not? Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, I have been. I love that he's crabby.
You love that he's crabby?
hysterical.
Did you like the attack eyebrows? I know we've talked about it before. You thought that was good?
That's awesome.
These are attack eyebrows. You can
Yeah.
take bottle top stuff with these.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
They
And
want to secede from my face and create their own angry eyebrow colony.
Right.
He was really good, and I like the way they introduced him and brought him into the Whovian. Now, what do you think about? It's obvious that his hair has changed a little bit. What do you think about that? Have you seen that in the pictures or not? Where his hair was a little bit
No.
tighter, now it's a little bit shaggier and a little bit more.
It's a little bit more
Afro-like.
It's a little bit more like John Pertwee, I think.
Yes, very much.
Just
like
overall,
Pertwee.
even his costume too. Like he has the whole new, instead of like the red trim, he has like that velvet red jacket, kind of similar to Matt Smith's last jacket, but it's
Right.
more red. I think
It's a little bit-
I think that looks awesome.
The one thing I really like about him is I think he is a very, I thought Matt Smith was a kind of combination of old and new, but a lot more new and a little bit of old, where I think Peter Capaldi is a lot more old with a little bit of new, which I really like. I like kind of his attitude. He's kind of got, he's got a little bit of Colin Baker attitude, a little bit of John Pertwee attitude, with a little bit of the Matt Smith quirkiness, which I really like. And I love that they brought the Scottish accent.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was about time. I mean, I wish Tennant would have done it because Tennant's got a great voice.
He
but
really
so
does.
does Capaldi. So
I love that there was a joke in one of the episodes for Tenet. It's the one with the Jadoon platoon up on the moon. He couldn't say that without breaking his accent. And like they made fun of him for it backstage, where like there were certain words that he couldn't say. So they wrote that line in that episode specifically to try to get him to break his accent on camera. And he does a really good job of trying not to, but you can tell just a little bit that it's hard.
A little bit, yeah.
It's still. I thought that was really funny.
They do. I mean, that's got to be a hard one going from the Scottish to the English, and they do that. So that's pretty good. So Molly, what do you think about Missy coming back?
I'm really excited. I loved her in Series 8. I'm very excited for it. I'm happy. I want to see what she does when she comes back. I want to see her just...
Yeah, and there's a lot of
Havoc
speculation
in the
because I think, as we all know, that the Master dies all the time, but the Master always comes back. Pretty much. So I mean, there's a lot of things, and I find it interesting that they have this whole that you can download your personality into the computer and then bring it back. There's a lot of possibility, and that opens the door for personally my favorite companion, or my personally favorite non-Doctor
I think
Who.
I know who this is.
River Song and how she's coming back. So big
Yeah.
news is Alex Kingston, they just announced it a couple weeks ago that she will be back into the Christmas special. And I know we're excited.
Who here is fans of River Song? Give her a
Yeah.
hand. Yeah. My beautiful wife.
We were really lucky enough when we went to the Des Moines Wizard World Comic Con to spend some time and talk with her. And I asked her flat out, I go, "Are you coming back to Doctor Who?" And she goes, "No." And she goes, "And if I was, I can't tell you," which, I mean, is code for we're talking about it. And then they announced that she was coming on the Big Finish on the
Audio Adventures.
The Audio Adventures. And I was like, that's fantastic because in the way she says it in one of the stories, I have seen all of your faces. So it makes sense that she could go back and visit all the doctors. Well, now we know she's going to meet Peter Capaldi. She's going to meet 12.
Yeah.
I have a theory about what's going to happen in this episode, too, because the one thing that we haven't seen on camera yet that is still kind of like a mystery is the fact that she has that modified version of Tennant's screwdriver. If you guys remember that from Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead, she has that screwdriver, and that's the reason that the doctor's able to save her. The only thing we haven't seen her get yet is that screwdriver. Like, that's pretty much the only part of her story from the show that we haven't seen. So I think by the end of the episode, we'll find out what the deal with that is, or at least I would hope, because that was one of the big cliffhangers that everyone wanted to know at the end of her run with Matt Smith was, like, what's the last bit of tie-in? Like, where'd she get that? How'd it happen? So I hope that we figure that out, because that's a big mystery.
Yeah, what do you think, Molly?
I didn't realize. I never realized that it was a modified version of Tennant's screwdriver.
If you listen to the episode, she talks about boosting the signal, and he goes, it doesn't have any dampers or doesn't have any boost.
Yeah.
And she has a couple of extra buttons. It's the same exact screwdriver with a few additions onto it.
Yep.
Hey, that's good. funny thing is you can hear me still even on the internet. You can still hear me on the internet even though my mic fell down. So
nice.
That's kind of cool. I mean, to me that was one of the best New Who episodes, and we, just so you guys know, we did an episode of our pop culture countdown where we did all of the 5 best New Who shows.
It was very hard to decide.
Right. And we decided,
Oh, yeah.
hey Rob, how many shows did we decide on? Like 15. New Who, the top shows for Doctor Who. Every time
We had like 17 good ones,
Right.
and then we had like 25 more that we just mentioned that
Right.
didn't make the cut. So it was
just
very hard.
Just so you know, we all came up with our top 3, and then we added on more, and by the time we got done, it had changed like
it
5
was
times.
a huge list. It was very fun though.
And we all have our favorites, which is really.
I
exciting.
think we all universally agreed on like the best, at least like the best 3 or 4,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's everybody has a different one, which is I think the cool part about Doctor Who and
Yeah.
why so many people like it. One of the other things that I'm looking forward to that they have talked about on different websites is Peter Capaldi's part in the 50th, where they come to Gallifrey at the end when they put Gallifrey in that timeless zone,
Yeah.
and he says
In the painting.
they hope to address that in
Yeah.
Series 9,
That
which
is going to
really,
be in
really
there.
cool.
Because the thing that was always very interesting to me, and I don't know if, like, many people didn't pay attention to it because it's such a small detail, but when you watch the 50th and you see him, like, he's wearing the red jacket that he has on right now.
Right.
And originally I thought because of the first pictures that they had, that was just Matt Smith's jacket because they look so similar. And, like, it was
Right.
very hard to tell because
Yeah.
you can mainly just see the eyebrows, which is, like, the best.
Right.
But
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they did a really good job of like saying that they're going to actually finally address it. And I think too, one of the big things I'm looking forward to this season is they're finally going to address the whole why does he look the same as Caecilius from the Fires of Pompeii?
Right.
And like the guy from Torchwood, like he looks the same as both of them, and he knows that. And I think they're finally going to talk about that. I think that's one of the reasons why he went to Karn is maybe he asked her why.
Sure.
Yeah, like why he can manipulate his face because he obviously knows that he knows it, but he doesn't know where he knows it from.
Sure.
So-
Well, I mean, that might be the side effect or whatever. Like they can concentrate and they don't know. And also maybe why. I'm sorry. I have a couple thoughts in my head, and I
ahead.
apologize for starting in the middle.
No, go ahead.
I think it's I think that's a cool thing where they're going to explain why he can do that or how that can happen. Obviously, we know how some of it happened, especially with the War Doctor, where he said, "Make me a warrior," and the physician heal thyself, which
Make
I thought
me a
was
warrior
which was fantastic acting. McGann is great.
I want a series for Paul McGann.
But also, yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, can
wouldn't
we get a
it?
clap? Who wants to see Paul McGann, the 8th Doctor, do his own series?
Oh yeah.
Right? Like that's one of the coolest things ever. And like he said in multiple interviews, like as soon as BBC calls him and says it's on, he would totally do it. And I'd totally be down for that. Like he's one of my favorites. And
Yeah.
there's like nothing there for him besides like the audio adventures, which are brilliant by the way.
Even just like you've seen those things on YouTube where he does reads of scripts at conventions and stuff. He's amazing, and I think
incredible.
he would do really well. I mean, they're all incredible, so that'd be good.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the 10 Rows, the alternate universe. With
Oh,
the
yeah,
Meta
that'd be
Doctor.
awesome.
I think that would be
cool.
if they were in need of money, which the BBC may be in a little bit. You never
Maybe.
know.
Yeah.
That
Going
could
through some
happen.
rough times.
But you know what? One of the interesting things you bring up, or we brought up about Peter Capaldi addressing how he got in that scene at the end of the 50th, is those events are time locked, and the Doctor, even Matt Smith's 11, didn't know that it happened after they left that scene. So how does Capaldi know that that's going to happen? So I think how are they going to address
I think
that?
it's because the event happened chronologically. It happened during the 11th Doctor's era.
Right.
So I'm assuming
No,
that as they progress, he remembers it because if you remember, the 11th Doctor remembered everything that happened. He remembered that Gallifrey's still out there. He found that out from the caretaker.
Well,
so he knows eventually that he's going to find it again.
He did, but
Yeah.
he didn't know the events. He said, "Oh, Gallifrey is still out there." He didn't know why. He just knew that it was. I'd
I'd have to watch it again. I think you're right, but I'd have to watch it again.
Well, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to figure because you know that 10, you know that 9, you know that 10 or 10 and 8, 8.5 don't know. So that'll be cool.
I think it'll be weird to see too because like he's obviously looking for Gallifrey. We found that out,
Right.
And we know that he's supposedly going to find it this season, isn't he? Didn't they say that he was going to at least know where it is by the end of the
They
season?
may address that. So
Because we know the
Missy
Master
seems to
knows
know.
where it is because that's where the
Missy
Master
seems
came
to
back
know.
from. Because
Right.
she came back from Gallifrey, obviously. Because when she died in Tennant's era, she was sucked into like that void, and she went back to Gallifrey with the like Rassilon and the Time
Right.
Council. So that we know that's where she came from, and we know that she knows where it is, but she's not telling him.
Yes.
So she's going to have to spit it out at some point.
Exactly. So Molly, anything else you're looking forward to in this season?
Nothing really.
Nothing really.
I'm just excited.
You're just
for
excited?
it.
Can I mention the last thing I'm excited about?
Yes. you
Maisie
can.
Williams.
Yes.
Who
Everybody
wants to
excited
know?
about
Like,
that?
I still cannot have a single inkling of an idea of who she is yet. Like every time I watch the trailer and like the little bits of the show that she's been in, like in trailers and stuff, I have no clue
Right.
who she's gonna be. Like there's all kinds of theories that like, oh, she's gonna be the Doctor's daughter regenerated. She's gonna be like a younger River Song or whatever. But like we have no idea. But what I really don't want to happen is for her to come in and just be a character they use for like 2 episodes and then not have it mentioned
Right.
again. Because I feel like that's really a big waste of a character like that. Just because Maisie Williams is brilliant.
Yeah, she is. You know what?
Yeah.
But the BBC has a good track record of taking these great actors and inserting them in these cameos and then blowing them for the whole series. Like Bill Nighy, when we
Yeah.
watched the Doctor and Vincent, Vincent and the Doctor, and he would be a great person to just have as a reoccurring character.
Yeah, he'd
and
be
they use
awesome.
him as a docent at at the museum. So
And like they only used Rory's dad. He was Arthur Weasley from Harry Potter, and they only used
Right.
him for like 2 episodes, and then he was never mentioned again.
yeah, but they can
Yeah.
use him. But they
Yeah, like
brought
they-
him in at the end of it.
I
so.
just really hope that they don't do the same for Maisie Williams'
Yeah.
character. Like I hope that she sticks around because
Yeah.
they're setting it up like, and I think we all kind of suspect that Clara's not staying around past this season anymore.
Yes.
Because it doesn't sound like Jenna Coleman wants to stay anymore. It'd be interesting if Maisie Williams became the companion, but I don't
Sure.
know how that would happen with her filming Game of Thrones at the same time. Because I feel like that would be way too much work.
Yes, it would be a lot of work, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
I've talked enough. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. I think it would be great. I think that's a good idea because, I mean, if you guys have read all the scuttlebutt that's been happening, Jenna Coleman was out at the end of last season.
She was supposed to
done.
be, yeah.
They changed the ending so she would stay. They convinced her to stay, or she
Yeah.
was figured out that it was better off for her to stay. But I think she's
Yeah.
done after this one. But that'll give her 2.5 seasons as a companion, which is pretty long.
She's already
That's a long time
because
for a
of
good-
last season. I think it was like 2 episodes before the end. She is the longest standing modern companion in terms of episodes she's
Right.
been in. She's been in the most episodes. She beat out Rose by like an episode.
Right.
I think during in the Forest of the Night. I think it was like close to the end of last season. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, because Rose ended up being in. I want to say it's 25 episodes. And
yeah, it was either Rose or it was
24.
it might have been Amy actually. I might be
Amy
talking
was in
wrong
a
because Amy was in
lot.
3 seasons, just barely. Because she was in
2.5.
series
2.5.
5, 6, and half of 7.
half of 7, and
yeah.
and now she's there. I think it was Rose.
So
that she beat,
I think it was either Rose or Amy, but I know that Clara is now the longest standing. So she's already going to have been in for another 2.5 seasons, right? Or yeah, because she was in the full.
She was in half of 7,
over half a season with
but
Matt
she was
Smith.
also in 1 episode of the first half of 7. So
This is true.
so I don't know how much that counts when she.
I think
pops
it
in.
does because she's
And the
technically
Christmas
she's
special, so-
technically the same character.
Right.
So
Because they tied them all together, the whole Clara Oswald.
Indeed.
Hopefully they can come up with some, and I hope that they can address that with River, is how the connection between River and Clara and all of
Yeah.
that thing. I think that would be a great Christmas special and thing to do. So
Yeah.
and honestly, I wonder because one of the big theories that's been going around, or at least that I've seen, is the fact that there's a 2-parter in the middle of the season that supposedly this is the episode that Maisie Williams' character comes in.
Right.
It's something along the lines of one of the episodes is the girl who died and one is the woman who lived. So people are thinking that in that episode Clara might die, and that would be how they write her out.
Right.
Which would be kind of a shame, I think. But at the same time, like, it would be interesting. I really don't want Clara to die. Like I'd like for her to live the rest of her life as she's supposed to. But
sure.
that could very well happen. We don't know what that means. Like that
But
could just be
she's-
some other
It would
random
just-
character.
Allegedly, she's died 1,000,000 times. So
Yeah, she's died
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of times saving the Doctor on every adventure he's been on. So
They could just stick her in another dimension.
yeah, right.
that's
Pull
right.
another Rose.
they would.
I mean,
so.
technically that's possible again though because Gallifrey's back.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
They can do a lot of things. So
that means maybe the Doctor can finally visit Rose. Okay, no one likes Rose.
no one really like Rose. So and then also
Amy?
No one clapped. I said the Doctor can finally visit Rose now that Gallifrey's back. Travel between dimensions is possible.
What about Amy?
they can't.
Amy, he can't visit because that's a time locked event. They're stuck in the past from the Angels, and he can't visit them.
Who else would think that would be a great little series to run off? I think that would be kind of cool. Where maybe they don't even make them like they're not going to be Time Lords or whatever, but they can make them be like. And I hate to say detectives. That's the bad thing to say, but they could run. Maybe do something with like a superhero or do something like that. I think that would be a great story because
It would be pretty cool.
They're
Like
both really
Torchwood?
talented and they have a lot of good chemistry together.
Oh yeah.
So
Torchwood?
I'm sorry.
Kind of like Torchwood?
Yeah. to do a spin-off series where they could do with like Amy and Rory because they never see
Yeah.
each other, and then you know how they bring up they adopt Anthony and they get all that going. I think it would be kind of a neat thing to go. Is that a mini canine that just got brought in?
Aww.
Well, that's cool.
Aw, little mini canine.
Mini canine.
Aww.
It's a teen. It's puppy canine. That's kind of cool.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So anybody else have anything about the new season that they're looking forward to? Dave, what do you got?
I'm just curious. Does anyone think that Maisie Williams could possibly be the Ranny? That's
Ooh.
a character I would actually love to come back.
See, I thought that was who Missy was going to be. Because, like, I don't know. Like, the way that she originally phrased that, like, you know, the one you left for dead. Like, when she's talking to the doctor about, like trying to hint at who she was like, I'm a time lady, the one you left for dead. And it's like, well, he didn't really leave the master for dead, technically. I mean, the master kind of, like, gave himself up.
He kind of killed himself, didn't he?
Yeah, he just
end.
kind of, like, walked into the portal with them and, like, there was nothing the doctor could do about that. That wasn't his
Right.
fault. But the Ranny, like, he actually, like, left the Ranny, like, stranded somewhere. So that's what I thought. Like, that made sense. And then they're like, oh, it's the master. Okay, cool, whatever. Like, it was kind of anticlimactic. And, I mean,
Right.
I think it's possible. I do think it's possible. That was one of the things I was thinking about.
Right. Well, you know what?
Oh, Romana would be
'cause
awesome.
I mean, technically, isn't Romana in E-Space? So when the Time War
she
happens,
was-
she's not there, right? She never got out of E-Space.
Yeah, you're right there. So
I
she
don't know.
could still be alive. Yeah, very, very
I
true.
mean, and having just watched The Doctor's Wife, are there other bubbles outside of the universe that other Time Lords or other people could be?
Because, I mean, the one thing that makes me think that Maisie Williams' character is going to be like a time lady of some kind is he recognizes her, but obviously we haven't seen her. And the only way we know of that, like, you can recognize the character is that Time Lords have that sense that's like, oh, you're another Time Lord. I know
Right.
you are. And,
Yeah.
like, maybe that's the way that he recognizes her is what I've been thinking. So
Sure.
that's definitely possible. Like, I totally think that could be right.
Yeah, but you know what? Don't companions recognize the Doctor even though they're in another form? I mean, I always thought that there was that special sense.
I think they describe it. I think Tom Baker talked about it when he said like that. No matter what, you'll always see him as the Doctor that you started with.
Right.
I think so. That's like why Sarah Jane would see David Tennant's Doctor, but like she would know that it's
right.
Tom
but
Baker. Like you just
but she
kind
was
of know.
with John Pertwee too. It's very weird. So.
Yeah, she was with a lot of doctors.
It's not bad. So, but that's a good point. But you know what? Stephen Moffat did say that it was not going to be a character that was before, but we all know that he lies too. Because
Moffat lies all the time. Let's be honest.
He does all the time. And you had a question. Yes.
Oh God.
But without all of the other stuff. So exactly.
George R. R. Martin, Joss Whedon, and Stephen Moffat will meet in a bar one night to write a script, and everyone we love will ever die.
That's right.
Like,
Exactly.
That's just like literally everyone's gonna die.
And
like
Sean
the second
Bean
they
will be
shake
in
hands,
it. Sean
we're
Bean
doomed.
will be in the story. So that's
Right?
good. Yes, sir.
I was kind of hoping Maisie Williams would turn out to be Susan.
Ooh. That would be really cool.
That would be cool.
Right.
There's a whole page dedicated to having her coming back.
Right.
And the way Capaldi looks at her is just...
And she does call him old man too.
Right.
Like that's something that you would call like a father or a grandfather. So that would make a lot of sense.
So
and I mean, she's a character that she's one of the rare characters from classic Who that can still come back.
Right.
So
there's a few and not many, so that would be one of them. So
Indeed.
I like that idea. I mean, I think that's fantastic. The statement that was brought up, if you couldn't hear, is that maybe Maisie Williams is Susan coming back to see him, which I think is a great one.
Indeed.
Which would be a great plot twist. So that'd be good. Anybody else? Anything about season 9? Anyone? Nobody else is. I mean, I know you're all excited, but that's it. You got one more?
Well, at the end of Death or Deep Water, it was obvious. I mean, they said, "Oh, the master's coming back." I wasn't surprised. It was obvious that was not a disintegration beam.
Right.
That was a teleport because the way he was holding it and everything.
Right.
yeah, she didn't. She
Right.
didn't die.
So yeah, and that goes to why Osgood could be back since she's there, and then and the only one
I'm so excited for Osgood coming back.
right, and Osgood's going to be back, which I think is great. She was a great character that they added because she had she shows up in the first one in a scarf, which I thought was really cool, and then
She wears the bow tie.
she wears the bow tie.
In
so-
this season, supposedly she's got 2 outfits. The first one that we've seen so far is the one that has Peter Davison's like little vest and the question mark collar.
Right.
So we know that she's wearing different Doctor garb. I don't know who the second one is though, but they said she had 2 separate outfits.
Well, that'd be cool. Well, if they're going to do it,
I'm campaigning for Osgood to be a companion because let's all see a Whovian in the TARDIS. That'd be pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
well,
And they brought her back for a reason.
and I'm bad, and hopefully you guys can. I can't remember the outfits as well. Didn't Colin Baker and Peter Davison both have Who's on the collar, and then Sylvester McCoy wore the vest, right? But his shirt did not have a Who on it, a question mark?
I don't think so.
So, right.
He had
but
the
he
cane
also
with
had
the question
marks
mark,
on his vest, right?
Yeah, the vest was question marked and
Right.
the cane was question marked.
And then, so I mean, I think that would be kind of
cool
cool if they went through that.
Vest and
So.
stuff.
Right. No, it was good. So
Yeah.
that'd be kind of cool. So anything else? Anybody else? Any theories they're looking forward to in season 9? Oh yeah.
Indeed.
Right.
Yep.
Didn't
I think
they have
that was,
They had the commander one. Didn't they have the one with the belt? The one from Victory of the Daleks? I thought they had that one in there.
I think so. But yeah, we know they're going to be in the first 2 because they
Right.
end off the first episode.
There's so many people that say, why bring the Daleks back? They're old, they're done with. I'm sorry, you cannot have Doctor Who without
Right.
the Daleks.
Yeah, I mean
Exactly.
the Daleks, like as referenced here, like everyone knows what this is. Like this is
Right.
Yeah.
this is about as iconic as the TARDIS is. Like there's nothing
Sure.
from Doctor Who. Like this was one of the first like good sci-fi villains ever. And yeah, you might say it's not threatening because it's got an egg beater and a plunger, but I mean, come on, like. This is one of probably the most iconic villain designs from almost anything. I
Right.
mean, there's no way to have the show without them. And they say like you got to get rid of them eventually, but no, you don't.
No.
That's half the fun.
Yeah.
Like you want to see them come back. They are the classic villain.
Yeah, they are.
The Cybermen are also iconic, but
Oh yeah.
a lot of people look at them and go, are those from Battlestar Galactica?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, in battle, I'll give
Right.
you that.
Yeah.
Well, they're all just kind of
Communicate
right.
through their chest plate.
They look like Iron Man now.
I don't get the whole walking faster than the speed of light.
That was pretty weird.
Yeah, you know.
I feel like every time we see the Cybermen, they make something up new for them to do, and then the next episode they promptly forget that it ever happened.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
because in the time of the Doctor, this was after the Cybermen could run super fast, and Matt Smith comes in with a Cyberman head with handles, and they
Right.
just start walking slowly, and he just gets away. It's like, yeah, where was the speed of light then? Why couldn't you have just
Right.
jumped in front of him and taken him and killed him? Like,
Well, he reset time in between then, so maybe it didn't.
this is
happen
also
till-
true. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, you know, there's always those little anomalies that they have in there. They throw it in there and think, hey, this will be great, and
Yeah.
then 2 episodes later they have to change that. So
Yeah.
Well, I think you know what? I think we're going to wrap it up. I think we're at the end here. So
I think there's one last thing I can mention at least, if you don't
okay.
mind. And it's not technically Series 9 though.
we'll get one more in each. Okay, go ahead.
So I don't know if anybody's heard, but supposedly there is not going to be a season 10 in 2016.
Boo.
I don't know if anyone's heard that.
I've heard
There
it.
is a
I've
season
heard it.
10 coming. We do know that there will be a
Right.
season 9 coming. I'm sorry. Or wait, no,
Nine-
season
nine is-
season 10.
nine is
It
coming,
will be
10
a
will
season
be.
10, but
But
supposedly
in-
one of the reasons that Russell T Davies and David Tennant were back in Cardiff was because, well, first off, everyone's rumoring they're filming a throwback for Doctor Who, which would be cool.
Right.
But we know that Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat are working on an adaptation of some Shakespeare shows, and they're going to be filmed in all of the studios that they film Doctor Who in. But that's
wow.
all going to be filming in 2016, so they can't use the series studios for Who. So a lot of people are wondering, like, if there's even going to be a Series 10, or if they're going to like take a break for a little while, or what's going to go on there. Because
Well, that's
I think
actually news.
I'm not going to lie, it's going to be weird going out without Doctor Who for an entire
Right.
year.
And they've
Well,
done that
maybe-
once already in New Who, and it was a long
Yeah,
time.
it's
That
a
18
long
months was
wait.
a long time. So
Because we waited from Time of the Doctor all the way to Series 8, and that
Yeah.
was only like, what, 7 or 8 months? And that was still a long wait.
That's a long wait. So, Molly, anything else? You have one more? Anything else to add?
During the break,
Yes.
me and my parents are going back, and we're gonna do the older episodes
Oh, wow.
starting. Well, not older, but we're not technically older, but we're starting at Christopher Eccleston.
Eccleston? Okay.
Then we're going up.
You're going to revisit the episodes starting with number 9 and go. So season 1 of the New Who.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's cool. So that'll
Yeah.
look forward to here on Cuckoo for Who. That we'll have a revisit of all the New Who episodes, which
Yeah.
there are what? Is it 92? I can't remember.
There's like
the number.
92 or 93 episodes. I'm
93?
going to start watching them all and try to do it all in a week, which is going to kill me.
Yes,
But
that's a lot of watching.
that's more television than anyone should be allowed to watch in the course of a week.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So that's it. Thanks, guys. I
Thank
think
you guys very much.
That's it for Cuckoo for Who. You can catch out all of our episodes and this one and previous episodes on SouthgateMediaGroup.com. We are broadcasting tonight live on what? On
Meerkat.
Meerkat, Google Plus, Google Hangouts. What else? YouTube channel. We're out there.
Yeah.
We're live tweeting while
We're
we
on
got
a lot
stuff
of
going
stuff.
on.
I believe so.
Yeah, well, thanks guys for coming out. You can catch us live on that stuff, and we'll be good. Hey, Jenny, it's our live at the Blue Box stock. It's our super fan. I wouldn't say
Thank you,
stalker because
everybody.
she's there. So thank you guys very much, and Rob will be up in a few minutes where we're doing a Doctor Who themed trivia mayhem. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.